it's going to be the best of times and it's going to be the worst of times. So we just have to wait and watch. But it's the writing on the wall.
Usually luxury brands or premium brands will tend to lose their value over the course of years because someone new comes into the market. It's just the play. But Taj has never seemed to lose that.
There's this magical secret sauce that they all have, and which is they genuinely want to make the guests feel happy.
Yeah.
And there's a certain sense of authenticity, warmth, intuition that they bring to their service, which I do believe is inimitable. And I do believe the competition at the end of the day is with their own self.
Yeah.
Because every time you move from a particular position to another, it's actually reset all the way. Because, company B would not give you much credit for what you've done in, let's say, company A. We adapt to digitalization and then we diffuse it. The thought process was that digital cannot operate as a standalone. It has to be omnipresent. Actually, what's very important is we learn and we get on top of using AI, but we don't lose our originality. The minute we have done that, we are probably not using AI, but we have probably become AI.
Hi, I'm Janisha and I'm hosting GoaCast, which is GoaFest's official podcast. Today we have with us a very special guest who's been at the center of brands, people and trust. She's now marketing director at IHCL and she's had a tenure of experience across Taj, Tanishq, hospitality, food, beverages, everything possible. But thank you so much for making the time. It's lovely talking to you at Taj. You're at home, so you're comfortable, I hope.
I'm hoping you're at home as well.
Yeah, I am, definitely. I mean, every time I've left a Taj, the experience is what stands out. And that is exactly the theme also of this entire conversation. It's the feeling that people leave Taj with, specifically for Taj, but also all of the other brands that you've had such a great and in-depth experience of working with. Would you like to say anything to begin?
No, I think it's lovely. It's great to be here. And I really love the energy this place manages to generate each year.
Yeah.
And I keep saying this, I said it's lovely to see that there's so much happening and it seemingly seems like it's not going to land up being very productive, but at the end of it all, it's very, very productive. So I love being here. The exchange of ideas, conversations is of a different level altogether.
Amazing. I'm going to begin with the theme for GoaFest this year, which is resetting for growth. And you've gone through a varied journey across many different industries, trying to accomplish multiple different things. How does that mean in your personal journey?
So I think resetting for growth, I like to interpret it as both personal and professional growth. The world that we live in, a lot changes in a very short span of time. Yeah. So professionally, it's extremely critical for all of us to keep resetting ourselves, sometimes unlearning what we have really spent a lot of time learning and redoing it. But it's important to be in sync with what's happening. So a lot of resetting lands up happening on the professional front. Yeah. But more for me, I think it's also on the personal front. I think every year that we spend with our own selves, it's important to keep aiming for a higher self of our own. And I do believe the competition at the end of the day is with your own self. Yeah. So it is a lot of resetting in terms of what you feel you did well, what you feel you didn't do well, what you could have done better, being probably really, really self-aware and working towards a better you.
Amazing. And your journey started, I know, with you went to study at NYU and then you were at Carnegie Mellon. You went through the scholarship after all of that to enter into this whole world, the Tata world, which is first of all a very intimidating place for an outsider to just enter as a career option, right? How was that journey? Just starting off.
I think the Tata Group is extremely coveted to join as a place to belong to. But once you're inside, it's extremely warm. I've done 23 years with the group and I've worked across 6 industries and I can tell you I've never felt the need to leave. There is a certain code of conduct that the group operates on, certain values that the group believes in and truly believes in. And I've seen this across companies within the group. And I think that's what makes you want to continue. Yeah. At the same time, the group has gone through a humongous change in the last 2-3 decades. And of course, being a multinational that's born out of India is always something that generates a little sense of pride in me as an Indian.
Especially when you go abroad anywhere and they mention Taj, just as one of the very few trusted heritage brands that still stands strong even today across the generations that have passed on, it still holds the same belief and trust. Usually, luxury brands or premium brands will tend to lose their value over the course of years because someone new comes into the market. It's just the play. But Taj has never seemed to lose that. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think Taj's been built on very strong foundation, and that foundation has been people. And these are not the limited set of us who sit at the corporate office, but it is the 25,000 plus associates who are actually across each of our hotels. There's this magical secret sauce that they all have, and which is they genuinely want to make the guests feel happy.
Yeah.
And there's a certain sense of authenticity, warmth, intuition that they bring to their service, which I do believe is inimitable. And I think that's been the reason why it stood the test of time.
Yeah.
When Taj Mahal Palace was first opened in 1903, we actually introduced hospitality to the country. And
Yeah.
it's really, really a proud moment for all of us, actually, that it continues to stand as a beacon not just of Indian hospitality, but global hospitality because of the values it was built on. The other thing I think which has made it stand the test of time is also an element of customer centricity,
Yeah.
in terms of not really being rigid about what we want to offer as an inside out, but also adapting to what the customer wants. So having that outside in view and protecting the core is probably the reason why Taj has not just survived but thrived.
And in fact, I think more than both of this, also, one thing that stands out from the customer standpoint is just the consistency of experience.
Absolutely.
They do want to make you happy, but there is a similar style in which they communicate with their customers, or they treat anyone who enters a Taj, right? That experience and that consistency, whether I go to a Taj in North India or in Mumbai, is the same. How does that come into play when you have such a big distribution team?
So the experience, if you were to deconstruct, is a function of many things. So there are systems at play at the back end.
Yeah.
There is data at play. There's technology at play. And at the front end, there's a completely warm human layer which is at play. And I can say this with great confidence that, God forbid, if the former fails, the latter more than makes up for it.
Yeah.
But it is a combination. So every
Yeah.
experience has to be thought through.
Yeah.
It has to really put the customer at the center. Then it has to be executed to perfection. And perfection needs a lot of training, reiteration, hiring the right people, consistently drilling into them on what Tajness stands for.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, at the back end have your systems and processes which kind of provide the safety net.
Amazing. And this, I'm sure, must be consistent even across all of your other experiences. You were at Starbucks, you were at Tanishq, you were at Tata Administrative Services. Any insights or learnings that you've been able to carry forward wherever you go, even though the industry and the work you do may be drastically different from each other?
So, I remember when my first job was Tanishq.
Yeah.
And we were, I think, 65 employees in Tanishq at that point in time. We used to all sit on one floor. And we were trying to bring about an element of organized sector in a highly unorganized sector. So it was complete reinvention, constantly going back to the customer, figuring out what are the insights, what are the pain points, and coming back and delivering them with precision and passion. So when I moved to Tata Capital, I remember we were making the brand, and it's a very B2C and B2B brand. And often I would get asked, which customer audience are you focusing on? And I used to always say, actually, I'm focusing on the person behind the audience, which is to say I may be a corporate person, but when I'm at home and I'm watching my television, I'm wearing my pajamas and I'm behaving like just any B2C customer. Taj, of course, is an emotional brand, and my MD loves to say, and very rightly so, that Taj is an emotion. So I think across industries there is a core, and that core comes more from who we are as people. So whether we are talking about people in the context of employees or whether we are talking about people in the context of customers.
Correct.
I'm also fortunate to have worked with brands which, along with this, had another P, which was purpose. So that just makes it a sort of a winning combination. So yes, I think I've had it a little easy. I've worked with some really great people, worked for some really highly purpose-driven brands. But yes, I think across sectors, it's important to just keep laddering and figuring out what is that core that you really want to reach out to the customer with.
Was there a strategy in place when you were going through all of these different shifts? Because I know you did marketing and then HR and then finance. Like, I think you've done the entire spectrum.
I think I have, because it's crazy. I've done brands, I've done strategy, I've done marketing, I've done customer relationship management, I've done digital, I've done tech, I've done data.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, as much as I would want to sound a little erudite and say there was this really crazy, well-planned path, there wasn't any. A lot of serendipity, a lot of keeping my eyes and ears open, and a lot of intuition and taking on opportunities because they felt right. Even if they were small at that point of time, they felt right in the heart and the mind. And I think having also the guts to take them on.
Yeah.
Because every time you move from a particular position to another, it's actually reset all the way because, you know, company B would not give you much credit for what you've done in, let's say, company A.
Especially if it's a different role.
Absolutely. So you're completely resetting yourself. You're building your own relationships, network, you're learning. So yeah, but no great plan behind it. A lot of good fortune and serendipity, I guess.
Any hurdles or one of your biggest struggles while you were shifting through?
I think each time when you shift, like I said, it's a reset all over again.
Yeah.
And you're used to a certain culture. On a lighter note, I think with my each job, my wardrobe has changed because Tanishq used to be this really crazy informal place, and I moved on. And Tata Capital was this financial services sector, and then Starbucks went back to being a little easy and light, and Taj is of course hospitality and luxury. So yes, but that's on a lighter note. But yes, you do need to have a very open mind. You do need to empty your cup. You do need to absorb a lot. In fact, one of my mentors in Starbucks when I joined said, you know, so what's your plan for the first 3 months? And I said, you know, I'm going to make a plan. And she said, first plan, don't do anything. 3 months, please don't do anything. Don't take any decisions. Just absorb. And I think that's one of the best advice that I've ever received because it is about unlearning and learning and relearning. And I can also tell you that no matter what level you join at, how senior, when you join a new place, you are a tad intimidated.
Obviously.
Because you are starting from scratch. So yes, it does take that extra effort. So it's not a bottleneck, but yes, it's an effort.
There's learning happening all the time.
Absolutely.
How is Tata Capital? I know you had one very important task. I read about this, 9 months, and you had to bring around profitability and change things around, and that was one of the hardest tasks that you had to take on.
So that was when I was the chief operating officer of the digital business unit, and I'd been in Tata Capital for about 6 years or so. And then I was made the chief operating officer. See, fintech has always been a big thing. So when you're in the financial services sector, you don't dabble with digital. You have to really, really adopt it and take it to the core. So we started this digital business unit, and I was the employee number 1 of that business unit. So yes, it was had a lot to show in a very short period of time, and I'm glad that my team and I managed to do that. And very interestingly, our vision even at that point of time was that we carve it out as a separate business unit. We adapt to digitalization, and then we diffuse it. Because the thought process was that digital cannot operate as a standalone. It has to be omnipresent. It has to be absorbed by HR, by marketing, actually by everything.
Correct.
So therefore, even when we started it off, the intention was we take it, we build it, and then it has to be diffused out, and digital needs to then be embraced.
So just a motive to accomplish that, and then once it's done, it's sort of ingrained in every other team at that point.
Yes, and it was also I think a very wise understanding that if we wouldn't have set it out in the legacies that all of us operate in, it may have been difficult to build it. So yes.
I'm sure at that time you must have had to take a lot of decisions day in and day out, especially as employee number 1, when the responsibility is that heavily on your shoulders. How do you make better decisions, or rather, how do you make decisions that you're okay with going forward? It may not be the right decision, but how do you deal with that?
So I think decision making has to be backed by a lot of knowledge, information, and data. And I know I spent a lot of my time meeting people, like really meeting people. In that 1 year of my, when I was leading the digital business unit, or maybe a year prior to that when we were talking about it, I would have met 50 plus startups in the fintech space from all parts of the world. Because you really do need to have that knowledge and information to at least form some sort of a perception or some sort of a knowledge base. Once you have that, I think the second skill set that you really need when you're decision making is clarity of thought. And I can say this with a fair amount of certitude now, that I think clarity of thought is a deficit. What we want to achieve, and I'm talking professionally now. What is the end objective? How do we remain clean on that? How do we move ahead in a straight line rather than a circuitous manner? So I think decision-making, clarity of thought really helps because you're very clear on what you are wanting to achieve. Third is, of course, a little bit of intuition that comes in. And I don't think intuition is any format of hogwash. And I say this all the time. I think intuition is nothing but your knowledge built over time, which now suddenly comes to you. And because of the speed which it comes, it seems that it's not based in anything, but it's based in a lot of stuff.
So intuition comes from data that's somewhere in your head.
Correct. Experiences, watching people, learning, mistakes, data, maybe some talk you've heard somewhere. So just in some interesting manner lies coagulated and probably gets touched upon when it's needed.
And it's something you've always observed and absorbed into your thought process and systems. And that was also clear with Starbucks because it was a brand that was maybe internationally renowned and known. It was the first time it was coming to India. How do you get an Indian population which is unaware of the premiumness that comes with Starbucks to accept it fully and wholeheartedly?
Or coffee per se. We're a tea drinking nation.
We're a tea drinking nation.
And to build a category against tea, which is so quintessential to India, has been again very, very exciting. But different brands operate on different insights. So if your brand is a tribute to coffee, then and if the promise of the brand is that you're the third place, then those become cornerstones for you. Everything else can revolve around it, but you don't mess with these two. And I think that's something Starbucks has always done beautifully. The amount of attention that goes into what coffee beans, how they are roasted, the rigor the beans go through, the number of beans that get rejected. I think there is a reason, why they are a success story or they managed to build what they built. And our job was just to take that rigor and that discipline and bring that to India. The third place dynamics, I think, was very, very interesting and very, very new, which is to say you could just come, sit there. It's not your home. It's not your office. It's not your college. It's a place where you can just be, and no one's pushing you to order. No one's pushing you out. And of course, please sip your coffee while you're doing that.
That's been established so strongly today. Whenever there's a line in a lot of restaurants around, everyone's always searching for a Starbucks because you're like, I will order my coffee, but I won't be bothered to leave.
Absolutely.
And a similar improvement in that sort of experience is you let them be, but also at the same time, there is no pressure to be a certain way either. People are in their pajamas. They're also in their post-office clothes. It doesn't matter. It's just a place where you're allowed to be yourself. You can work. You can be there with friends. Any experience you want to have, that place is open to it. And with Starbucks,
I've seen kids studying. I've seen potential matchmaking happening. I've seen research companies set their mini offices in Starbucks. Yes, so it is a lovely diaspora and a very, very mixed bag, very eclectic group.
Just the plethora of experiences you've had, and to hold this position of responsibility and to keep delivering on it year after year. And life still goes on, right? That doesn't stop. How has that balance played out for you? And is there any learnings that anyone watching this could just have and take as Just food for thought.
So I've always believed that, my life, and it'll vary for everyone, but my life has always had these four pieces. So I've had my work, I've had my family,
Yeah.
I've had my friends, and I've had myself. And I know for a fact that at any point of time, easily two out of these four will be working really well, and two would be on fairly shaky grounds. But I think the trick is to understand that if, oh my God, I sound like a foundation preacher, but yes, if the core is right, things do land up sorting. But if I could give an advice to women per se, I would say please invest in all four pillars. And if you had to pick one of the four, pick yourself. So that it's very important because if you're not happy with who you are and what you are, there's no way you can bring joy to your work or your family or your social friends' life.
So if you're not happy internally, all the other three might shackle, which is true.
Absolutely. And having said that, let me say there are enough number of times when you're not happy internally because, you also, like I said, you have to be self-aware and you keep, but it's important to understand that while you are on a journey of self-improvement, to not be so hard onto yourself. It's okay.
Correct.
It's okay.
It's fine. You make mistakes, you learn,
Absolutely.
you move on.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, the more senior you go, the more balance that you have in your life, it does help you professionally as well. I do believe that as a balanced person, you're able to take better calls.
Is that the case also with Taj? That's the time where I feel like now you've had this entire growth journey. I'm sure you're continuing to grow even today, but now you stand at the center of a brand that is living on, has the premiumness that maybe no one's even getting close to. And it's also at the center of not just data, but also experience. And it's a mixture of data and consumer. And I think it's at the right place, having the right balance of the two, which is why I'm asking that.
So yes, I think Taj is perfectly poised, and it's an Indian brand which is massively loved, which is now a very, very coveted global brand. We have been the world's strongest hotel brand for 5 years, which is huge, and it's perfectly poised to keep expanding its footprint globally and within India, and take the Indian exceptional service, hospitality to global horizons. There's a saying that I'll end up saying quite often, which is Atithi Devo Bhava, which is treat your guests like God. We didn't coin it. It was coined eons back.
Yeah.
But that is what Indian hospitality is about. So I think it's perfectly placed to really keep expanding both domestically and internationally. And I must also say that Taj has earned its stripes. I know this is an insider speaking. A lot of success that Taj has seen has come because of a lot of hard work, a lot of strategic thinking, and a lot of people's passion and empathy.
Putting empathy at the center has been one of the strongest suits also that Taj has been able to live up to, because it's, like I said, it is the experience that someone leaves the Taj with. Along the lines of that, there's also the weddings. When any Indian couple is choosing to get married, you often hear them say, and that's when you know you made a heritage brand, is also, I want to get married at Taj instead of I want to get married at a 5-star hotel, is what they usually will just say. Does it take a lot of grit and determination to build that replicacy of, instead of saying 5-star hotel, I'm going to say Taj? Or does it take a lot of compassion and still continuing to give that experience year on year? I think it's going to be a mixture of both from what I judge your expressions to be.
I think the people we have and the team that we have love doing what they do.
Yeah.
So to them, every guest smile actually just gets them that much more motivated and that much happier to deliver the next one. So it lands up being this very nice, self-sustaining, positive circle. And I think that's why we are a part of people's lives. That's why people want to get married in Taj because they've probably celebrated their first job in Taj.
Yeah.
They've probably celebrated their passing out of school in Taj. They've probably had a few breakups in Taj. So it's always been there for them in their good times and bad. And that's why there's this strong emotional connect. And of course, for a brand to have been there, it obviously played those moments perfectly to the guest satisfaction. Because we could have lost that, right? But Taj didn't. So to that extent, we are a part of a lot of people's lives, and we hold that in special emotional occasions, and we hold that in deepest regard. And I do believe that that's what our legacy is built on, the love that we get. And it's very fascinating, sometimes when my team, of course, handles social media.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have these really bizarre negative comments, and we are struggling with what do we say to this. And I think I've now realized where I just tell the team, let it be. You will have enough people who know what Taj is about and who know how authentic a brand we are and how genuine a brand we are. Let them speak. And that's what happens every time, where we have people defending us. And these are the same people who have all the rights to call me up and say, you know what, you're great, but today I had a terrible experience and da-da-da-da-da. And I will take it with that same level of sincerity. But yes, but that affection is interesting. And
I'm sure the negative reviews, and like you have one bad experience that goes viral much easier than a positive experience does. So you must be getting a lot of that. And while the team
not a lot, thankfully not a lot. But yes, we do have we do have our very, very respected guests and loved guests who do
fight back,
who do put forward their view.
And I'm sure it's their personal experience. Like, no one's telling them to say it. They don't have to, but it's just the experience speaking for itself, which is must be a great feeling to have.
It is. It's a responsibility, but yes, it's a great feeling as well.
I mean, with Taj also, you inherited a brand that was always existing compared to Tanishq, which you were building from the ground up. There's obviously a different skill set that's required for both. And you had that at different points in your career, which maybe was the right thing to do at the time. But is there also is that a different attitude that's required while you're going through two very different experiences?
So with Tanishq and Tata Capital, I think they were more emerging organizations. Tata Capital was brand new, in fact.
Yeah.
And Starbucks and Taj have been really respected and valued brands. So yes, there is a different mindset that you need. When you're building something, it's important to be very, very, very focused in terms of defining what should hold good for at least a decade. And therefore, it's important to have that thought process in mind. You have a clean slate, but at the same time, that means you have nothing. So you go back to the basics. So you go back to customer, competition, industry, insights, trends, and you then define something which is data-backed and customer-backed. When you're working with a recognized brand, it is not so much about defining the core, but it is about defining that layer of relatability. Or that layer of, and the layer of relatability, we spoke about it for Starbucks in the context of regions, but it's also got a time horizon to it. Sometimes that even within the same geography, for the same brand, it's important to build that relatability because that also changes with time.
Absolutely.
So that's the slight difference. I've worked with companies which have been in a growth phase throughout. So I don't think I've got the liberty of time anywhere. It's always been there's a lot to be done.
Of
and so I've always worked in very agile environments.
And that agility has taught you anything about your personal self, your beliefs?
I think agility, when you're working in and when you're working towards building something, it's very important to like what you're doing. Because there's so much that needs to be done and sometimes redone. If you don't like what you're doing, then you're really setting yourself up for trouble. And the magnitude of work is a lot. The pace of change is a lot. You don't always get it right. There's a lot of decent amount of rework that you have to sometimes do. The only thing
Yeah.
that pulls you through is your passion for what you're doing.
Amazing.
And then it
There's
doesn't feel like work, actually.
so much to learn from just the entire trajectory
Which you have to
you've
unlearn
had.
and reset in a year.
Tying in the theme and how. Amazing. Any last pieces of advice to give someone who's either entering their career or looking to get into hospitality or in looking to do the same things that you've done?
Okay, so the first piece of advice would be that, like I said, please believe and invest in yourself. Because if you don't invest in yourself and you only believe in yourself, then you're probably believing in something which is not that rock solid. So please invest in yourself and believe in yourself. Second is learn to understand the difference between a real failure and a failure. Because a lot of things and a lot of people, things that they fret on are really not worth fretting on. And in fact, they're probably blessings in disguise because they've just taught you something which is just going to make you that much stronger. So don't fret over small things. It's a part and parcel of life. Nobody told you it's only going to be a bed of roses. So please learn to take that in your stride. Third is don't be too hard on yourself. You've got a long, long way ahead of you. Nothing is unchangeable. Nothing. So if you're in the worst position at this point of time, trust me, you can get out of it. And the reverse holds as well, right? You may be in the best position and you don't know what tomorrow holds for you. So a lot of belief, a lot of passion, and a lot of gratitude as well. So yeah, I don't know. It didn't sound like one advice, but I guess that's the marketeer in me.
With marketing, I know obviously you also look at data now. There's been obviously very interesting conversations about AI and how that is changing the world today. Has that played a role in your day-to-day now? And if yes, then how?
So 100%.
Yeah.
And specifically for marketers, if you're able to crack the right side and the left side of your brain and get both of them activated, then you're in a really strong position because the face of marketing is changing. It is as much about what marketing was earlier as it is today about understanding data and tech. So if you can move across both the boxes with equal ease, then you've really got it right. AI has changed a lot for us, a lot for marketers. I'm now saying. The adoption of AI that we are seeing, the quality of AI that we are seeing, the ability of AI to build personas, the natural, the learning curves that these AI tools have seen has been really sharp. And are we using them? Yes, we are. We're using them on a regular basis. We use them for a lot of stuff. And I think it's beautiful because if the two are used in unison,
Yeah.
then real magic can happen. So of course, there can be multiple schools of thought on what is replacing what. But I think as of now, they both complement each other extremely well. And I think we're using it on a daily basis.
There was even a conversation of you in, I think, 2022 or 3, which was a lot of years ago when AI still wasn't even a buzzword. But that's when you said this is going to be the next shaping thing. But how did you spot that even before it became a thing?
So, there's a very interesting, I don't know if it was an article or was it an interview, I don't remember. In 2013, 2014 maybe.
Yeah.
Where I started off by saying it's going to be the best of times and it's going to be the worst of times. And of course, I was borrowing from Charles Dickens, not my original line. But I still say that about digital and tech and data, that it can be the best of times, it can be the worst of times. So we just have to wait and watch. But it's the writing on the wall. So it's very, very important to make sure that we... Actually, what's very important is we learn and we get on top of using AI, but we don't lose our originality. Yeah. The minute we have done that, we are probably not using AI, but we have probably become AI. And there's a difference between the two.
Very close to getting there right now.
I hope
with
not.
The rapid growth.
I hope not.
With the international properties that Taj does have, How has the experience been in setting up? Now India is going global. The world has changed from global coming to India. How does it feel to set up Taj in an international geography that you weren't aware of? You didn't have any consumer insights going in, at least. But how has that entire journey been?
So, international markets are always a moment of pride for us because we take what we call the quintessential Indian hospitality or the spirit of Indian hospitality to international horizons, and and I can tell you it's something which is very respected and admired and loved internationally by Indians outside as well as the international audiences. The hospitality that's in India as a culture, and of course which is in the veins of Taj, is extremely warm, authentic, intuitive, adaptable, and I think that's what helps us build global relevance wherever we've entered. So we've got properties in London, New York, Frankfurt, Maldives, Dubai, Bhutan. We've opened 3 lodges in Kruger National Park. So yes, so we are expanding internationally in a big way, and we will continue to do that. And the response that we're getting is very, very heartening. And in fact, there's one thing everyone does keep saying is that, you know, the spirit of Indian hospitality that Taj brings is something which ought to be kept, and I can assure you it will be kept.
Is this also a core pillar of the next couple of years' growth, international
Growth
expansion?
is, yes. Growth is very much a pillar of, it's a strategic intent for us, yes.
Amazing. Can't wait to go to more Taj properties across the globe and always
Absolutely.
have that option to go to. But thank you so much for
Not
that.
at all.
We can
This
move
is-
into the flip the card. So I'm going to just put them out. You can pick out one at a time and then answer the question that's on there. Okay. Just prep them.
What's something you're still trying to figure out in your career? Oh, wow. When will it start getting planned? I think I've just been this rolling stone which has moved from one place to the other. I've not regretted that at all, and like I said, it's been great. But I'm wondering, when will I start planning it? So yeah.
Interesting. That at this point, after so many years of experience.
What's something brands should stop doing on social media immediately? I think being inauthentic. I think the customer out there is, and I'm so happy they are, but they're extremely sharp and extremely wise, and to be not authentic is suicidal. So yes, they need to stop doing that.
They'll read right through it.
In a
Customers
matter
will
of
see it.
seconds.
Yeah.
So yes. Okay, this I've already answered. I went beyond a piece of advice. I gave 3. What part of your work takes the most energy? Oh, actually, it's not a part of my work. It's being a mother of a teenager, which takes, I think that's the best training ground, because I can assure you there is no boss who is as mercurial, random, always up in arms as a teenager. So yes, so yeah, I think what part of my work takes most energy? I think it's being a mother.
Which is much more tedious than this is.
Absolutely, yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for all of the insights. I think it's one of the sharpest minds there is in the media and premium market that exists in India today. And there's a lot to take back from everything that you've said. But thank you so much for making the time.
You're completely flattering me. And no, but thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.